Hi, I'm Dave Reed, Region Vice President for Weatherford, Canada. We're going to hear some good news stories from some of our employees here today. Those stories are accounts of how those employees intervened to protect themselves or others, essentially standing up for safety. And while we watch these stories, I'd like you, as our fellow Weatherford employees, I'd like you to think about opportunities that you've had to intervene, where you may have intervened, where you may not have intervened, either at work or at home, and the impacts those interventions, had you taken them or had you not taken them, may have had.
I was back in the blend room one day and grabbing some rags, and I noticed that one of the operators didn't have his steel-toed boots on, so I asked him if he forgot about it because it was first of the shift, and he said, "Oh yeah," and went and put them on. To prevent this from occurring again, we have a monthly safety meeting, and we usually discuss PPE at every safety meeting or every other safety meeting just to reaffirm what's going on. I have no issues talking to people about things that could possibly make us safer. I would for sure do it again, and I hope everybody else would be doing it, just because I know I like to keep people safe, and I hope other people like keeping other people safe.
The machine behind me, actually, we had been working on it, and the safety mats that were on the floor had ended up bunching up, and they had created a tripping hazard. First of all, I stopped my coworker, and then I stopped the coworkers on the other machine as well, and brought it to their attention so that they could also help out in securing all the things properly, so we could move the machine and get it done properly. In this kind of situation, our supervisor, he happened to walk by, and I just brought up the fact that we're going to be moving the machine because it's caused a tripping hazard. So he gave us the okay. Pretty much what we do now is we make sure that the mats are always under the machines, just so that way they can't move on their own. And if they do bunch up, then it's easily just to move them just out a little bit, just so that way they can't bunch up again. Other people should see this. Other people should go ahead and, if they see something unsafe, they should go right ahead and stop work and make sure that everybody's working safely.
The event I'd stopped is BOP sitting on a BOP rack. On an angle due to rotten or deteriorating boards. We had the loader operator take the BOPs down, make sure the situation was safe, remove the rotten boards and change out to the new proper boards. I would stop work again. Safety is number one. Most guys have families around here, so that's most important.
While working on the floor, I noticed some of the welding fans the fans the guys were using to keep themselves cool where the weather was a little warm, they had some burnt cables on them. So I decided right away that it's unsafe to use them. We stopped work, took the fans out of production until they could be repaired, got the guys some new fans, and put a stop work order on those fans. Any danger work that's happening on the floor that you see, we should always stop.
My guys were out in the field changing a compressor, and they had concerns about the amount of H2S that was present in the tanks there.
We phoned our supervisor, and he told us there was absolutely no work being done.
Our supervisor supported us by calling the customer's supervisor, which then they made the decision that they would purge the gas and mask up and then perform the task on another day.
Our supervisor helped us by phoning whoever he could to get for us not to do that job.
We came together as a group, and now we know the hazard, so we'll be looking for it in the future. And the customer knows as well, so it makes it easier for us to discuss the hazard.
I believe it was valuable to me. Just another reinforcing factor that we all have a dangerous job. It's our responsibility to watch out for each other and ourselves at all times.
We went to a company's site, a customer's location, and noticed that the ground was soft in the normal rigging up area for our truck. So we had stopped the truck before we got onto location and had a safety talk with the company man, shutting down work and trying to figure out a better way to rig up without damaging the truck. I talked to my crew and we shut the truck down. We went to the company man and had a safety talk for approximately 5 minutes. Went over several different ways to do the job, and we explained to him that we could safely and efficiently do the job without pulling our truck with a loader into the soft spots where we would normally rig up. To prevent this from occurring again, we are reminding everybody to do a walk around before spotting the trucks, and that they have the right to shut the job down at any time if they feel unsafe.
I was just getting ready to go load up for a job, and the shop hands were helping me load up my truck. And they had 2 pup joints over here with 1 sling on it, so they're going to pick up 2 pup joints at once. And I intervened the job to explain to them that we have to use 1 sling for 1 pup joint, because otherwise picking 2 pup joints up creates a pinch hazard.
I was called out to perform a fluid shot on a customer's well site, and it was the previous day, and that afternoon we started to get a pretty good snowstorm blow in, and by next morning we had a 1.5 feet of snow on the ground. So at roughly 7:30 in the morning, I called the customer to let him know that I wouldn't be making it there for 8 a.m. I think it wasn't even 2 seconds actually after I'd hung up the phone, Don had called me to ask me if I was going to do the job, and I informed Don that I wasn't because of the road conditions, and Don says, absolutely, good call.
I agreed the weather was not good for a travel. It was going to be about a 2-hour trip, and the roads just weren't worth traveling on.
If we feel it's unsafe, then, I mean, what can be said about it? It's not like we're turning down the work because, oh, we just don't feel like driving today. It's a hazard.
We were on location in New Brunswick performing a job for a client, and when we were rigging in, we realized that we didn't have all the correct equipment on location. We stopped the job on the rig floor. We went and spoke with the company man and advised him of the issues. And then we contacted our Weatherford base manager, and he stopped the job by talking to the client. We stopped the work, and once the work was stopped, we got all the correct equipment en route to location, and once we got the correct gear, we started the job again. We've implemented a whole new workflow procedure in our facility, and we document and traceability to show that we can get things to the field properly. It was a very good situation for us. Everybody went home safe, and we all left the field the same way we got to the field. I didn't think previous to this that I would be able to stand up and stop the job, but I was able to, and there was no repercussions for it.
The testing division at Weatherford realized an opportunity for improvement for our short service employees by putting them through a new hire training course before they get dispatched to the field. This increases their competency and also shows them hazards that we have identified that they will be encountering in their jobs.
What I personally will take away from this training course is experience more lifelike situations in the field rather than computer-based learning. I think that learning how to properly put units together hands-on is going to benefit me a lot better than if I was to watch a video of someone else do it.
It started the night before when I had phoned the client just to find some more information about this job, and he informed us that there was no pressure on the well, and basically we never even needed any pressure control. As soon as we were given the safe work permit and we went through it, we realized that there was pressure on the well and H2S, and we brought it to the client's attention that we weren't capable of doing this job safely, so we stopped work right there. To resolve this situation, I immediately phoned my assistant manager, and he recommended that we bring out a sour truck, and they would have all the safety gear and all the equipment they would need to safely perform this job, which we were unable to do at the time. This is very valuable to us because safety is what we're all about, and if we can't do our job safely, isn't that worth doing?
It was early morning. I was traveling to work. Upon coming to work, I came to a relatively busy intersection. Noticed that there was a sign that had been pulled out covering the 2 lanes of the opposing traffic, causing traffic to be backed up severely.
When I came to the stop, I seen there was a billboard sign in the right lane on the southbound side. After the traffic could clear, I pulled in behind the sign, waited till it was safe to do so, and I removed the sign from the road.
I noticed the employee get out of his truck, and when it was safe to do so, he entered the intersection, pulling the billboard off of the street, releasing the congestion in the traffic. I had made note of the unit number. I didn't know who the employee was at the time, but I wrote up a radar card and submitted it for positive recognition.
The job I intervened in was a tank truck driver was trying to unload fluid, and he was not grounded, so I had to stop operations so he would not unload his trailer. What could have happened was the static electricity could have went through his vessel or his tank. It can cause explosion with the fluid inside his tank. Well, how we stopped work and intervened by telling the tank truck driver he should be grounded before unloading fluid. To prevent this from happening again, we're communicating with the third parties to make sure they are doing their jobs right by making sure they're grounded or etc. I decided to intervene and stop work again due to safety of me, others, and himself, to protect everybody else.
The event that I had stopped was filling up a dead oil cylinder with dead oil because I cracked the fitting and I'd smelt rotten eggs, which is indicator of H2S. I stopped work, I just closed the container, and I had told everyone to get out of the SCAL lab. I had talked to my team lead, informed him that the oil could contain H2S, and he informed me I should move it down into the H2S lab and mask up to work on it. I would intervene and stop work again. It is valuable to me as an employee, to my coworkers, and to Weatherford as a business.
We were getting ready to install an iron derrickman into our test stand. One of the other service technicians and I were doing a pre-investigation of our lifting equipment when it was noticed that the lift cable had some damage done to it. So we stopped the job, informed my supervisor of the damaged cable. We had immediately ordered a replacement cable. When the second cable arrived on site, we did a pre-inspection on it and noticed that the load rating on the second cable was not sufficient for lifting our iron derrickman into place. So again, informed my supervisor, and we got engineering involved to look at our lift system to determine a permanent solution. I would absolutely intervene again. It's valuable to the entire company, and it's part of my job.
We got this program started because of an injury we had in the shop with a pipe rolling over someone's hand. Basically, we just needed something more for impact. The gloves we were using before were strictly just a gardening glove, and they worked kind of in the shop, but once somebody got hurt, we had to switch to a more high impact just to protect our hands in the shop. Since this glove program came into effect, we've actually seen now more people have a better understanding of where the gloves are needing to be worn. And basically we've had very little, if any, hand injuries since then.
One of my colleagues came over to use the bench grinder and did so without a face shield. I tapped him on his shoulder to intervene, and we wrote up a radar card, brought it up in the safety meeting so that it wouldn't happen again.
My mom, she was relocated up here to Edmonton, and since then my parents have both been making the 2-hour trip each weekend from Sedgwick, our hometown, to Edmonton. And sometimes my stepdad will do this after a full day's work, and he won't even get in until midnight. It all started at the driving competition they had at Northlands in May. After listening to all the speeches, because it was all related to fatigued driving, it really struck a chord with me because my parents do that a lot. They'll drive until midnight to get home because they live in different cities now. And so I just asked them both to take the pledge to not drive fatigued anymore. Everyone thinks that they know their limitations. They've done it before, pulled an all-nighter to get wherever you gotta go. I think if you push yourself to your limit, you're just putting your families at risk, you're putting other people on the road at risk, and you're putting yourself at risk. Since then, they have been waiting until the next day to drive, or going and having a nap, or whatever it takes to be safe.
Those were great videos, and I happen to know that those are just a few of the many outstanding examples that occur almost daily across our business. I'd like to personally thank each of those employees who had the courage to intervene, the courage to stand up. And furthermore, I'd like to thank their supervisors and managers for supporting those efforts.
I want to say how proud and supportive I am of my employees who take the effort to intervene and stop unsafe work, or at least when they see something that doesn't feel quite right, to step forward. I think it's critical that we do this. I think we owe it to one another as employees, as colleagues, frankly, as human beings. And I stand behind them 100%. If you see an opportunity to make sure our colleagues are safe by stopping the work, please step forward and do it.
If you are working somewhere and you think something is not safe, you have the right, you have the obligation to stop work and ask questions. And I will support anyone who chooses to do that.
My biggest reason for being safe is my family. I have a wife and 2 children who I want to get home to each and every night. We expect the same out of each and every one of you. When you guys are in the well site, in your shops, there's 3 things you should think about. 1, protecting yourself, 2, protecting your fellow employees, and 3, protecting the resources we utilize. Don't be a statistic. I support you in standing up for safety each and every day, each and every operation.
You know, more and more of our clients are demanding that we have a stop work program, and we tell them that we have one in place already. They're very impressed. We're quite a ways ahead of our peers. Not only do you have 100% of my support for stopping the Unsafe Act, you also have the support of our clients out there as well.
When I travel throughout Western Canada and visit all of our employees, whether it be at our bases or in the field, it is very important to pass on the message of support from upper management to all employees in regards to their safety. Our #1 goal is to send all of our people home safe every single day.
I never want to have a child growing up without a mom or dad. Safety is a commitment and an attitude.
Safety is a fundamental and critical factor to the success of our organization. For me, the most important part of safety is ensuring that our operational people get home safely, feel comfortable in the environment they work in. But there's another component to safety that delivers right to our customers. Safety is often the greatest indicator of the quality of service that we provide. So at any given time that our operational individuals in the field feel that their safety is going to be compromised, then very likely our operation and our quality is also going to be compromised. So I fully stand by and support standing up for safety to ensure that our quality is adhered to, and that will translate to more business, better customer relationships, and a long-term benefit for Weatherford, Canada.
I, along with you, have a responsibility for our collective and our individual safety. I want to remind everyone here that you not only have the right, but the obligation to stand up for what's right and stand up for what's safe. Please know that you have my commitment, as well as the commitment of the leadership here in Weatherford, Canada, to stand up for safety. Stand up today for a safer tomorrow. Remember, safety always.